Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm so grateful that you are enjoying this free content on YouTube.
If you want to be the first to access content like this and not have to wait a week or who knows how long before you can see this content, then you should subscribe to B-Side, where you will get the content immediately as soon as it drops and you won't have to wait at all.
The B-Side app is waiting for you to come home. Peace. Yeah, I learned the game from Charles and Maxie. You can never tax me. Back to back for the pastor that didn't even ask me. Back to back like I am the brother with equal blessings. Back to back like I'm GE 96, 97. Whoa, I want to see my dwellers really change. That's the reason for switching my freaking lane. Now I'm potting, still saying Yeshua's name. Some of y'all hoping that Timmy will go away. It's 2 years later, homie, where y'all at? Sat up on my couch and made a B-Side app. I'm not sure what it was that really made that happen, but this is what I gotta do. It really made God clap. I mean, whoa.
Bless the pod. Amen.
Amen.
We'll bless the pod.
That's all we say.
Amen.
That's all we say. We believe the Lord is with us. On me, ready? Sweet. Welcome to the basement, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Tim Ross. I hope you're all doing well. I don't know what y'all doing today, but whatever's been done, I hope that you are good. Shout out to my dwellers. I'm so grateful that you have found safety by pressing B. Shout out to my B-siders. I'm so grateful that you have found community by pressing B. Isn't it amazing that God gave us like just the dopest little icon that a little B could mean so much? B for basement. Who knows that we could get a tech company called B-Side? Like we didn't even try to make the synergy with that. It just happened to work because we believe. Oh, I felt that thing. It was shallow, but I felt it. I got a couple of splashes on it and it felt it good. Hey, listen, I'm so excited today. Oh, I'm so happy about my guest. All right, so check this out. Last time you saw my friend, she had on a big red hat. When I tell you she was in full artist mode, giving us vulnerability in a way that has been a blessing to many of you all. The stories that she shared, we have heard the testimonies. You've written in on the testimonies. It's been amazing. Here's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the moment that we had on that day last year, November 3rd, 2023, as we launched the B-Side app. But now she's on the couch. Huh?
Hey.
Now she is on the couch. I'm talking about none other than Grammy Award winning, Billboard chart topping, and now author of a new book that I cannot wait for us to get into called Do It Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to some, introduce to others, and if you've been hiding under a rock, where have you been? Tasha Cobbs Leonard is in the building, everybody. Let's go!
What's up?
Woo! My sister from another mister is here.
Woo!
Let's get it.
Let's go.
I love you, girl.
I love you.
Thank you for coming back.
Listen, I am in the basement.
You in the basement for real.
Okay.
For real. You are in the basement and you are in here on such a short notice.
Yeah.
Like both you and Kenny, like I love y'all.
Hey,
like,
now.
Listen, hubby in the building too.
We in the building.
And I'm so grateful that you were able to be flexible enough to come on such a short notice.
No, thank you.
The reason why I got so excited and was looking at the fastest dates possible because we were just at a conference together last week.
Ooh. Okay, let's talk about you though. At the conference, you're not normal. You different.
Okay.
Apostle basement.
Not Apostle basement.
Like, guys, he went into this song, right? Like, in the middle of the message. The message closed. You know, most preachers gonna close with a hoop.
I can't hoop.
He
I gotta
closed
close
with a song.
I gotta close with a rap. I can't
And
hoop.
literally, we've been singing it ever since. Like, the conference was crazy.
Oh, it was so here was my sentiment going into the conference. Going into that session.
Yeah.
You are leading praise and worship before I preach.
Yeah.
I'm a worshiper.
Right.
I'm not one of these dudes that be sitting there thumbing through his Bible while all the worship is, the atmosphere is being set, and I'm like
finishing up your notes.
Let's see. Oh yeah, that's good. If I add that if you still studying right up until you preaching, you didn't study.
You got to go with what you got.
You got to just go. Just close your Bible, sir. It ain't that deep. You ain't got to stand there looking pious. Ooh. So I'm a worshiper. So and then you come out. And here's what's unfair about having a catalog, right? Like when a new artist has a song, right? Right? They either have a song original or somebody likes to hear them sing somebody else's song.
Yeah.
A cover. You have a catalog now.
Wow. So
you could have started with anything. You could have literally started anywhere. You could have started anywhere. You starting with I'm about to put a praise on it?
Okay. Let's just talk about the atmosphere first of all.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. I almost came out of my skin before y'all finally got to the stinking song. Like I was literally like bone was coming out of skin.
Okay.
Before you even there's a miracle in this room.
Over.
I could have fainted. And then so I don't think it's fair that you are the worship before me preaching and that I'm being asked to recover.
It's you saying there needs to be a 30-minute break.
I just think there needs to be a buffer between you. If we're gonna be on the same session, I want a 30-minute buffer. I just want it to cool off. And when I say me.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. To recap, I want to fully worship. And then on your last song, they calling me to the back.
And now everybody goes out for chips and salsa.
No. I'm not ready for anything. I'm not ready to do anything. I'm still trying to recover from the ministry that just happened. So
like it was amazing. I was excited that I got to share that moment with you.
Oh, thank you.
Totally honored for real.
Thank you. Well,
it was incredible.
The feeling is absolutely mutual. I've told you this from the first time we met. The very first time I heard you sing, I walked up to you and I said, whatever it cost you to be able to do that.
Wow.
Like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. You sure did.
I didn't want to come up first of all, I didn't have the verbiage that and there's no knock on it. Like, thank you for your yes. Like, I get it. Yeah. Okay, great. Yes, we said yes.
Yeah.
But like you carry something that I know cost you something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And only people that have paid full price know and sense when people have paid full price.
Yeah.
And so you've paid full price for what you carry, what you steward, and what God has entrusted you to do for a living.
Wow. You just said that and my mind started to go back to so many seasons. Like, man, this to release this song and it impact so many lives, it cost me this. Or to be able to stand on a platform like that and have this catalog, the catalog cost. And I'm not talking, everybody talking about selling their catalogs, that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. It cost a sacrificial life where it's like, hey, I'm willing to go through this because I know that this song is going to bless a lot of people, or this testimony is going to bless a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of times people get an opportunity to hear that. And so you were just talking about the book. I felt like this season was prime for me to say, okay, you feel this when you hear this song, or you sense this when you hear this song. Now let me tell you the story. You know, I feel like I'm now at this. Everybody like to say this season in my life.
Right.
Where I'm 40. I'm 42.
Yep.
I got a story to tell.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad you said that because I do believe every season, decade, year is significant, right?
Yeah.
But there is something about reaching 40.
There is. There is. When I turned 40, I told my husband sitting over there, I told everybody, I'm taking the brakes off. I know that's not what you're talking about, but this is what I'm talking about. I told my label everything. I was like, y'all better be afraid because I'm pretty much going to say how I feel. At 40, there is no more room for masks, for trying to appease the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all out there.
Yeah.
You're going to get transparent, Tasha,
Yeah.
very honest.
Yeah.
Here's where I am.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
I have too much on the line. I got a family. I got a husband.
Yeah.
We have church. We got kids.
Yeah.
I'm not here for your applause.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that here's where I think the difference is, though, in our 40s. There's some people that would be listening to you right now, listening to us right now, in their 20s,
Yes.
in their 30s, that are like, I already do that now. You think you do.
Yes. Yes.
Is that fair?
Oh, very fair.
Like you think you do.
Yeah, we have kids ranging from 21 to 2.
Yep.
So we know that and all in between.
Right.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
you're in your 20s, you know everything.
Yeah, you think you do.
You think you do.
think you do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But there's no perspective of experience. There's no perspective of like the life and relational equity of actually like walking through making the mistakes.
Yes.
Like when you tell the truth in your 20s, it's based on what you think you know.
Come on. Yeah.
When you say you taking the brakes off in your 40s, it's because of what you know you know.
Yes.
Right?
Right. I was just talking yesterday. My husband wasn't feeling good, so I was teaching.
Why you put it in quotes? you saying this? You thought he
feels great
faked
today? No, let me tell you about my husband. Everybody knows their spouses.
Yeah.
My husband, we just recently started to pastor, so we're 4 years old. And one of the things that I've learned in watching him over the past 4 years, he's just such the heart of a pastor, and a lot of times his body responds with sickness when it's carrying too much information or stress.
that.
So I'm trying to
Let me give you your wife
yes.
kudos
Yeah.
for being that attuned to your husband
Yeah.
to know that. That's a beautiful thing
He's
for a
not
spouse
sick.
to know.
He's not sick. He is carrying weights.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
So yesterday I relieved him of those weights and I told him he had to stay home because
good.
he matters much more to me than
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
So the Lord was showing me about
Before you go, I'm sorry. Let's go a little bit slower. I just want to appreciate that. I don't want you to forget where you were going, but you just gave like a little marital clinic,
Okay.
like that quick.
Yeah.
That's like it's very
priority.
Yeah.
Oh, above all.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So I was like, because he was saying, well, this has to happen. I got it. He gave me a mini lesson before I left. These are the points that we have to cover.
Yeah.
It was the best.
Yeah.
But you, sir, are my number one priority.
I love it.
And please allow me to tell you
That's-
that you're going to stay home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. That's a
So
little
now
clinic
he feels
right
better.
there.
He had a chance to come with us today.
That's great.
because I'm my best self when he's with me.
For sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. I love that. That's awesome.
Y'all take some notes.
You
All
take
right.
notes. Absolutely.
But I had a chance to talk about what's so crazy. I was torn between if I was gonna do a lesson or a message entitled "Do It Anyway." I was just torn between that. I was like,
Yesterday?
hey, I preached "Do It Anyway" yesterday. It wasn't planned, so this was an overnight thing. I was like, hey, maybe I'll do, a couple points. It was not the plan, but I felt like this was something that I really needed to put a little bit more biblical context to as well
Yep.
for the people who were at our church.
Yep.
And it started off with, I introduced it with talking about adversity. And what I thought was like, man, because the scripture literally says that tribulation, it births perseverance.
That's absolutely correct.
When you skip all of these steps,
Yep.
you don't have the fortitude or the foundation to withstand when you get to the mountain. So things start to crumble. We've seen it over and over and over and over. People who skip steps.
That's right.
And I'm not talking about taking wisdom from mentors
Yeah,
to help
no.
you not run into brick walls or to make these crazy mistakes.
For sure,
But I'm
absolutely.
talking about adversity in life.
That's
So
right.
a lot of people don't know I was a baller. I was a basketball player, played basketball, high school, middle school, everything.
I did not know this. I'm
one of
today
the
years old.
Yes,
I did not know
today.
this. Let's go.
One of the things I love about team sports is, for one, it teaches you how to manage time. It teaches you how to work as a team.
Yeah.
And it also teaches you, one of the things that used to challenge me is we would go to practice and you're not necessarily playing the game.
Right.
You're doing drills.
Right.
Because if I skip over these drills, I'm not going to know how to cross over.
Right.
When somebody's defending, when
Right.
the defense comes on the left. You got to know how to work with both hands.
That's exactly right.
And a lot of times, people make it to the mountains without learning how to work with both hands. You can't get to the mountain without adversity. Like, we had this mountain experience. It's the funniest thing. I wish we could find this picture, y'all. My husband tricked me into climbing a mountain. Like, if you're having a small group or something like that,
How
I
does this
told the
happen?
church, I'm not coming to the mountain experience. It's not me. It's not my thing. But I decided to go with our team. We were in Hawaii.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
We were in Hawaii. He has the picture right there.
Those
It's
some
the
big
red
mountains.
hair. I'm so upset. I am so upset. And I started to think yesterday, even as I was speaking, there were moments, we were so green. We were out there with Jordans on, Chuck Taylors, I don't know what y'all call them, Converse.
Yeah.
Literally, it's water. It's a stream. So water, it's mud. Kenny starts slipping. I mean, but the team had this determination that for some reason they wanted to get to the top of this mountain. I'm thinking, guys, we could turn around in any given moment.
Right. Exactly.
But they have this determination.
Yeah.
There's no way to get there
Yeah.
with what we have on without
Wow.
slipping and sliding.
Wow.
But he would reach back and say, babe, come on. You know, I feel like we are in a culture, in a world now where people just want to skip over adversity. Like, I literally said it in my message yesterday. Thank you, God, for adversity.
Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
People don't want that.
No, they don't. Well, the first scripture that popped in my head, I think it's in Philippians. He learned obedience by the things he suffered. Like, how is anybody doing anything that doesn't require discomfort?
Discomfort.
That doesn't require inconvenience?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't require pain?
Wow.
Like, there's nobody that's going to have a six-pack just
Without some
because
pain.
they're in the gym with equipment
Ah,
that works your core.
yeah.
Proximity to it and the work going through it are two different
Two
things.
different things.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's what I think about all of that when you ask about the grace to minister those songs in that way. Like, I had to go through some stuff.
Yeah. So
Like-
let's elaborate on this
Okay.
as much as you feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Because I am big on receipts.
Yes.
I'm huge on receipts.
Yeah.
I say this ad nauseum for the people that are a part of our community. I don't talk about anything from a theoretical point of view.
Right.
I've lived all of this.
Lived it.
That's how I know it works. Because it worked on me.
Yeah.
If it worked on me, it'll work on you.
Love the voice.
And this is not like cookie cutter stuff, right? I'm
Right.
not talking about generic. I'm talking about this is specific stuff. Oh, you going through that? If you do this,
Come on.
then this will be the outcome.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. I was watching a guy, they call him Route God.
Mm-hmm.
He teaches football players, wide receivers and such, how to run their routes better.
Okay.
And so he was talking to this bigger guy, and he was like, listen, you're coming up to this place where you have to make this cut, but you're trying to do it like a little dude. A little dude can get all the way up to this spot and then make this cut. You're a bigger dude.
You're carrying too much.
You got to make this cut earlier. You can't do the same thing a little dude does.
Yeah.
You're bigger.
Yeah.
So make the cut earlier, and the dude made the cut earlier, and then he was
Wow.
like, this is why you pay me this money to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to always tell you the truth. But it's because he experienced it.
Yes.
So he knows how to not only tell you how to run the route, but how to modify the route because he's done it himself.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of, the reason why I know what you carry was costly
Yeah.
because it wouldn't move this many people
Right.
if you didn't pay full price.
Truly. Yeah, you talk. Let's talk about some receipts.
Okay.
One of the things that I love to share this testimony now. Before, it was a little bit challenging for me because there was this expectation. Hey, you're on a platform. You got this. You got that. There's no way you went through this. I literally, from the years of about 2009 to 2013. I would stand on platforms, minister the goodness of God, lead people in worship, watch people be set free, and I would go home for days, like literally days, under the covers, comforters over my head, curtains closed, plagued by rejection. For many years, I called it the wrong thing. I'm depressed. Literally in the middle of the night, the Lord woke me up and said, Tasha, you've been calling it the wrong thing. And I started to study. I don't know if I missed it. I've been in church my whole life. I had never heard of the spirit of rejection. I'm a preacher's kid.
Right.
All I know is church.
Yeah, for sure.
But the first time that I heard this language was from God himself.
Wow.
Like, Tasha, you are dealing with the spirit of rejection.
Wow.
I need you to get up. First of all, study what you're dealing with because you've been cutting off branches. And the root of it is rejection. You keep calling depression. That's all. I was standing in prayer lines. Lord, heal me, heal me, heal me. You've been calling it the wrong thing.
Wow.
I need you to be freed from this root of rejection. And so I went back to childhood where I can think of times, this is the truth, where I would be sitting in church, love church.
Yeah.
My punishment was to miss choir rehearsal. You can't go to Bible study. I'm that kid. I'm sorry, guys.
Right.
That's all I have to offer.
Yeah. You're a church girl.
I was a church girl.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I remember one time my mother, I had not completed my piano lesson. So she was like, you stay home, finish your piano lesson. I'm going to go to choir rehearsal. I was like, you know what? I'm going to cry until you come back.
Wow.
I cried for hours. I made myself cry. I ran out of tears. I said, when she comes back, I'm going to be laying right here crying still because I want her to feel this pain, what she's doing to me. So she walked in the house. She was like, girl, you still crying? I am never going to leave you again. That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you. It worked.
Right, exactly. right.
I was that kid.
Yeah.
But I was also the one who, I can remember like deacons from the church coming to me saying, hey, my son is in the same class as you. Would you look out for him? Make sure he does his homework. Make sure that my daughter is not hanging with the wrong crowd. So I'm carrying these weights of responsibility, these weights of perfection now that I started to adopt for myself. And so though I was flawed, I would hide those flaws. And so then it became these secret sins because now Tasha can't be flawed. Nobody expects that from me, even me. Wow. So this self-rejection grew into this huge thing and in adulthood. Yeah. So now God is saying to me, I can't allow you to walk through the doors that I have for you until you deal with this at the root.
Okay. All right. Go slower.
Go slow.
Hey, yo. Here's why I want you to go slower. Because this is 4 years in.
Yeah. Wow.
To you already ministering to people.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I want this to be, I just don't want this to be lost on people.
Right.
We think God waits until we are perfect.
Come on. Yeah.
Before he starts us.
No.
Into what he's called us to do.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
He calls you and goes, along the way, I'm going to get rid of everything that's in you.
Yeah.
But this thought of like, I'm going to get everything out of me before God would allow me to do anything for him. Where in the Bible is that at?
Now that you say that, I think back because I started ministry at my dad's church. I did my trial sermon when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
But now that you're saying this, there were levels of access.
Yes, of course.
Where
That's
he's
right.
saying, I can allow you to work on this platform, still dealing with that.
That's right.
But this door, it'll kill you.
Yes, it will.
You will crumble if I allow you to walk through this door that way.
That's exactly right.
So I believe that night, was me saying, okay, I had to make a decision.
Yep.
Am I going to deal with this issue
Yep.
or am I going to forfeit my purpose?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he was saying to me. I can't, me being the father that I am,
Yeah.
I can't allow you access to that platform
That's good.
because it'll kill you.
You're absolutely correct.
So I had to literally go and discover, hey, this is why I'm this way. This is why I've made these decisions. I mean, I was the girl, back then I was overweight, but I was the one who had to get online and say, big girls rock.
Right.
Pretending to love myself.
Yeah.
Because that was the expectation.
Yep,
She's
yep.
anointed, she can sing.
Yep.
She's popular. She was popular in high school, played
Yep.
sports, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But the whole while I'm holding on to this rejection thing, that there's something that I'm hiding from y'all, and I wish just one person would see it. I wish just one person would say, all right, we love Tasha, she's gifted, but there's something going on. You know what I'm saying? And so I adopted that self-rejection for myself.
Yeah.
And here I am, 20-something years old, and God is saying, I have so much more for you. It had been prophesied my whole life. I remember my mother coming home, and she was a deep worshiper. We were Pentecostal, but my mom was this worshiper. She would sit in the car for hours and just cry, spending time with God. And she got out of her car one day and she said, the Lord said to me that people will know your name before they know your face. I mean, these are the things that were spoken over me. So you got lines where you get prophesied to.
Yeah.
But it's different when your mother.
When your mama say something.
Come on. She's like, God told me people will know your name before they know your face.
Wow.
When I won my Grammy Award, I can tell you right now, I was sitting in that room for the song Break Every Chain. People had heard it all over the world, knew my name. They didn't know who I was. I was sitting there 7 days after my father passed. He had just gone to be with the Lord. And I couldn't believe they had called my name, first of all. I was already smothering in grief.
Right,
But on
for
top
sure.
of this, y'all just called my name. So I'm sitting there. Everybody else is looking around too, because we don't know what you look like. We know this song. So I'm sitting there living out this prophecy that my mother spoke to me.
Wow.
And so, but before I could get there, I had to deal with this deep-rooted issue. And so that's one of the places. And I mean, for years, I would watch people be healed and set free through songs that I was singing.
Yeah.
And for days, I would go home in darkness.
Wow.
It got so heavy that my assistant during the time, she was also my cousin, she packed her bags and she came in my room. And I will never forget this. And she said to me, Tasha, she was like, it's too heavy for me. She was like, I'll be back when you deal with it. Yeah. I mean, and this is while Break Every Chain is out. I can minister that song the way that I do because I experienced the breakthrough
Absolutely.
that happens through that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a pretty melody.
No, it's not.
No.
And that's why my expression for all things anointed is oily.
Oily.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm always like that. Child, that girl
That's
is
oily.
oily. That song is oily. The musicians are oily. Everything
Right,
is oily
right,
for me, right?
Right.
So the picture I'm having as you I see everything in pictures. So
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm watching this tree
Come on.
that you were whacking away at these branches, yet the root system is still strong.
Yeah.
Take me on the journey of intentionality it was to get to the
Yes.
root. Because I can't tell you how many people are out there swinging at fruit like a piñata. And it's like, the fruit ain't even the issue.
It's not the issue.
You trying to get rid of porn and you trying to get rid of smoking weed. And
There's
you
a
trying
root. There's a root.
Nobody gets into any of these behaviors.
Right.
Ain't nobody just like, you know what? I just want to be addicted to meth.
Right.
I know y'all keep telling me to go to college.
Right.
I know y'all keep telling me to
No, I
learn.
wanna pop pills.
Yeah. I don't want to be an underground welder and make $120,000 a year. I want to blow out my teeth smoking crack. And I just don't understand why y'all niggas won't let me be.
Yeah.
They don't. Where do they that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, that doesn't
There's a
happen.
root.
There's a root.
Yes. Yeah.
So how did you get to your root?
There were two things. I had to do self-work.
Yep.
But I also went to therapy. Yes. I went to therapy, and the reason why I chose to do that.
Oh, wait a minute, Tasha. So it's the Holy Ghost that told you it was the spirit of rejection, and you still went to therapy?
Yeah, God
it wasn't
uses
enough for
people.
you to just, I got the spirit of rejection and I bound it
Caught
and
up in the
loosed it.
stratosphere. No. I had to come back down to earth and talk to somebody. Somebody who went to school to be able to help people.
Let's go, girl.
Yes. Yeah, I went to therapy and she helped me. You know, one thing that I love about therapy, it helps you compartmentalize.
Yes.
Because sometimes I'm a thinker.
Yep.
So my mind can be all over the place. Well,
Yep.
what happened to me when I was 10?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
did you do?
yeah,
You know, I'm thinking about everything.
Yeah.
They break it down. You know, even if it's just a conversation where you sit and you talk yourself through.
That's right.
I talked myself through seasons of life.
Wow.
Where it's like, hey, revisit the 10-year-old Tasha who had to carry the weight of the students who were at her church who were the same age as her, making sure they did their homework,
Yeah.
making sure they did this, making
Yeah.
sure they did that. When all along you just needed to be a 10-year-old.
Yes, you were paternalized
Come on.
or maternalized,
Maternalized.
at a very young
Very
age.
young age.
Yeah.
Very young age.
Yeah.
And though I was very wise, very mature,
Yeah.
you know, I've had this conversation with my parents before too, because there was just some information about church folk I didn't need to know at 10. You know, there's some things, talking to any parent, some things kids or adolescents are not equipped
That's
to
right.
bear.
That's really good.
You know,
Yeah.
and we've had that conversation before, but of course, you know, that was back in the 80s.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
And you see this wise,
Yeah.
very mature kid, you feel like, oh,
Yeah.
she can handle that. You
No.
know, but it grows into this space where if I'm going to be trusted with grown people's stuff, then I got to act more mature and I got to be perfect and I got to do this, you know. And so that's one of the things that I did. I went to therapy and I talked to myself. And one of the things that she said to me, I'll never forget it, because another thing that I adopted, there are so many things that were attached to this root. It was I was fearful, you know, failure. I had this fear of failure. And so, which is so crazy because I had a fear of failure. I just failed to do things that I knew that I could do. You know, so
Wow.
all of these were branches.
Yeah.
Depression was a branch off of this root of rejection. And so I went back and and one of the things that I also did is I was just an overachiever. So even during the time when I won the Grammy, I never stopped to celebrate anything. I was never present. I lived in the future. What's next? What's next? Did y'all send out this email? Who do we have to go to next week? And one of the things that I will never forget, I appreciate her and I know that she was sent by God. She said to me, make your loved ones make you be present. Like to this day, there are sometimes Kenny will stop me and grab me on my shoulders. Do you have a headache right now? How do you feel? Are you in pain? Are you hungry? You know, my loved ones, my cousins, family members, I told them, I need y'all to help me be present.
Yeah.
Because I've adopted some unhealthy ways of living that I need you guys to help me correct.
That's great.
All of these were things that were attached to this one root
Yeah.
of rejection. Another thing that I did, and this is a spiritual thing, I started declaring over my life. Every single day I would look myself in the mirror. Still to this day, sometimes I say it. I curse the spirit of rejection and I receive the spirit of adoption. I literally would say this. And I've told this story around the world, and there are people who now have testimonies that just declaring, changing my language.
Yeah.
That I'm no longer rejected. I'm not rejected.
Yeah.
I'm adopted.
Yeah, for sure.
I have been chosen.
Yeah, you have.
You know,
Yeah.
and so I would declare that over my life. I made my family make me do things, make me be present,
Yep.
make me be honest.
Yep.
You know, because another thing that was attached to that, just living a life of dishonesty.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't
Absolutely.
be honest with myself. So
Right.
I have all these secret sins, these
Yeah.
things that I'm dealing with,
Yeah.
you know, that I can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants the girl that sings on the mic.
Yeah.
That's super anointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the struggle, I don't want that.
I appreciate you because I just don't think we have enough. I'm big on process.
Yeah.
And we live in a culture that only likes before and after pictures.
Wow.
That's all we
Yeah.
just want the before and after, right? It's like show us big, show us small. Right?
Right.
Show us homeless and then show us a multimillionaire.
Yes.
Show me doing Uber Eats and then show me dunking a basketball. They picked me up on a 10-day contract and then I wind up a superstar. Like
Wow.
But if you say, well, let me tell you the process.
I don't want that.
Like, you know what I mean? Can we fast forward that?
I want the pit and the palace. I don't want the in between.
You don't want slavery. You don't want
Prison.
How do I don't know the Egyptian language. You don't want I'm a servant in Potiphar's house trying to pick up a language, trying to be faithful to a man whose woman is trying to bone me.
Wow, come on.
We don't want
that story.
a rape case that puts me in a prison for 2 years with two guys helping me become more fluent in Egyptian, who promise to give a good word to the king, but don't give it to him.
Ooh.
for 2 more years or so.
All we want to know is that you know the language.
Did you become Joseph or not?
Yeah.
Just fast forward. I just want to know if you became Joseph. Yeah. Pit
The
Palace.
The end.
We just want the end.
And we want that for our lives. Like, we don't want the middle piece. I don't want that middle piece. I don't want the dash. Give me the mansion.
Yeah.
But the truth is, what we experienced at that conference last week would never be experienced
Never.
without the rejected Tasha. Never. I could never birth these songs. People talk about the songs from my album Smile, where I was writing songs like "You Make Me Happy," "You Make Me Whole," "You Take the Pain Away." I was in the middle of depression and rejection. I was writing songs prophesying over my life. Smile, I want to make you smile. That song, those songs and that album, they were birthed in one of the darkest seasons of my life. But God gave me a gift.
Yeah.
Let me talk to the gifted, because sometimes we think our gifts are only for the people that we're ministering to.
Yeah, for sure.
It's for you first.
Absolutely.
God gave me the gift of writing and singing, and it helped me experience deliverance.
Yeah.
Because I was not happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't smiling.
Yeah.
But I wrote songs
Yeah.
that helped me find that.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I hope you're getting from this is when I say, or when we say that something cost,
Yeah.
we are actually telling you what the price is.
Yeah.
The price is deep, introspective, self-care,
Yes.
and work on self.
Right.
I didn't hear you name nobody else.
Oh, no. And I had to study.
I didn't hear you say, I need to go talk to my daddy because I need him to forget.
Oh, yeah.
I need to
figure out what's wrong with me.
I needed him to apologize for not picking me up when I was sick. This is, you
Self.
had to go work on you.
Yeah. And you know, and when I found out what it was, I studied it. I went and found documents and books about the spirit of rejection.
Yep.
So I needed to know what I was dealing with.
Absolutely correct.
We can rebuke all day. Oh, I rebuke you. I rebuke you.
Swinging in the dark. Swinging in the dark.
Jesus would say, I recognize you, Legion. I'm going to call you by name. Here I am. I'm not addressing it at all. So it's like, hey, I'm comfortable here. You don't have any information about me. I started to study what I was dealing with. So that's how I knew, oh, Tasha, this is why you've been walking in fear all of these years. It has nothing to do with your mama being afraid of dogs and teaching y'all how to be afraid of animals. No, this is a spirit of fear. And it's attached to this root of rejection. But you've been calling it all these other things. No, I needed to learn what I was dealing with, so I know how to speak to it.
Yes.
You got to go.
Yes.
Yeah. And when it shows up in other forms, I still recognize you because I've studied.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
Yeah, when you show up as failure, I still recognize you. Rejection.
Yep.
I'm not calling you failure. I'm calling you rejection.
Yes.
I studied.
Because you know the root.
Yeah. We want other people to do that. I want to turn on a podcast to see what they say about this. Teach me how to grieve.
Listen.
You know, God even spoke to me about the grief thing. Go ahead.
No. Girl, please keep
Same
talking.
thing. The same thing with the grief thing. This was probably a year and a half ago where I got this revelation where even from my father's passing, my father passed unexpectedly. That's where the book was actually birthed from.
Wow.
So my dad was a pastor. I'll tell this story and then I'll jump into the grief thing. My dad was an old school down home pastor. Jessup, Georgia. I'm from Jessup. Holla at me if y'all watching. And he was the one who, he was the last person in the church, turn the lights off, make sure the thermostat was off. This light bill ain't gonna be $1,000.
Right.
We went on vacation from Sunday evening to Saturday morning.
Yep,
we were
absolutely.
gonna be back at church.
And
so that year when I released the album Grace, I was nominated for 7 awards, and the Stellar Awards were on a Sunday. It was my first time performing at the Stellar Awards. And so I remember thinking, okay, I'm gonna condition myself because I know Daddy's not gonna be able to come. It's on a Sunday. However, my parents decided to come to the Stellar Awards. More than any award I could have ever won. To look out and see my dad's
my
face
goodness.
beaming with pride. I'm the ultimate daddy's girl.
Yep.
Like the definition.
Yeah.
So to see him beaming with pride, I had a 60-second performance of Break Every Chain. I mean, we went hard.
Yeah.
I saw him out there, and they were for some reason, it's like they were spotlighted. I could see them the entire time I was there.
Wow.
And I remember that night I was with my mentor and pastor at the time, William Murphy. We were in his hotel room just celebrating what God had done. I won several awards that night. And he said, call Bishop and ask him if he want to come hang out. I was like, okay, we got Daddy to Nashville. He's definitely not coming to your hotel room. Forget about it. So I texted him anyway, Dad, y'all want to come hang out with me? Him and my mom were there. And he immediately responded, okay, we're coming.
Wow.
I was like, okay, are you okay?
Right. Who are you
You
today?
left the church.
Yeah.
You left Jester.
Right.
You came to Nashville. It's a
Yeah.
lot going on.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even know if I can handle this. And I mean, my dad was this guy. He was a man of very few words. But if he spoke, it was either going to be profound or super funny.
Got you.
Like he was funny.
Yeah.
So that night he decided to talk to us about these fish oil pills that he had started. He was telling us how he was making movements he hadn't made in 40 years. He could bend over. I mean, we were in the floor crying actual tears, laughing at this man.
Oh, that's funny.
And at about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, they decided to leave the hotel room. They were driving back home the next day. And I remember him getting on the elevator with my awards in his hand because I told him, hey, you could take all of my awards. That's going to be my repayment to you for all the sacrifices you made.
Wow.
And so he had these 3 Stellar Awards in his hand. And I said, hey, Daddy, take out one of them. I want to snap a picture of you. I snapped a picture of him. He was just beaming with pride. He got on the elevator. That would be my last time seeing him on earth. The next day, my father went to be with the Lord. He had a heart attack in the car and died. And I remember leading up to that, 7 days later was the Grammys. And he would say, Daddy's not going to be with you in L.A., but I want you to go anyway. And so I'm saying, nobody expects you to go to L.A. Why do you keep saying that? Daddy's not going to be with you in L.A., but I want you to go anyway. And now I know he was leaving with me the last lesson that he would teach me, that when your heart is broken, you don't understand what's going on. I want you to dig deep within yourself and do it anyway. I got up 7 days after he went to be with the Lord, and I won the first Grammy in L.A. Heartbroken, not understanding, but I had one thing that my dad told me to do. I want you to go to L.A. anyway. And that was the lesson he left with me, and my goal with this book is to give that lesson to everybody else. Like, it's going to get hard. Life going to be lifing, and you may not understand it, and you may be grieving, but there is something in you that if you just dig deep, you can pull out and do it anyway. That's where this came from. So now, here we are. Yeah, that's the lesson he left with me. So a lot of the testimonies.
What's his name?
Fritz Cobbs, Bishop Fritz Cobbs. I have an eyewear line that I named after him. Fritz Eyewear, yeah. I stood up, and I there are very few things that I can remember from that weekend at the Grammys. But I remember this one thing. I stood on the microphone. It's like the Lord had all of these things there to keep me safe and covered.
Yep.
You know, because you're very fragile.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Absolutely.
And about 2 weeks prior to that, he had gone to a conference and Ty Tribbett was there. Mm-hmm. And him and Ty just hit it off. He came home talking, I got a new best friend. His name Ty Tribbett. And I called Ty. I was like, what did you do to my dad? He has been talking about you for 2 weeks. And literally at the Grammys, Ty was the one who presented me with my Grammy Award. When I walked off the stage, I collapsed in grief, and Ty was there to catch me. It's almost like all of these things were set up for Daddy to say, I got you.
Wow.
I got you. And I remember standing on the platform, and the first thing that I said is 7 days ago, the greatest man who ever walked the face of the earth went to be with the Lord. He was my dad. And I asked the entire Academy to stand and give him a standing ovation without hesitation. Everybody just, that, again, was greater than any Grammy.
Yeah.
To have these esteemed people honor this man. They might have never met him, maybe through me.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, he was a down-home country guy.
Yeah.
But he changed the world.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yes.
this is emotional for me.
Yeah, I
child.
know.
Oh my God.
I know. Day by day.
Ooh.
But day by day, even now, that was in 2014, 10 years later, I'm still learning lessons from him.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I was on a tour with Naomi Rain, and she has this song. It's The Story I'll Tell. She was singing that song on the platform. That's the story I'll tell. And it gets to this part, oh, I know it is well. And the Lord said to me, you think I failed. This was 9 years after my dad was to be with the Lord. Here I am, like, hey, I'm the grief specialist. You know?
Right.
He said, no, you think I failed. And then he started to talk to me about the story of Mary and Martha and their brother Lazarus. The first thing she said to him when she met Jesus was, if you would have been here. She was telling him, you failed. He was like, Tasha, your heart, but there's a space in your heart that you want to allow me to get to because you think I failed. And then he told me, but I took the keys to death, hell, and the grave. For him to be with me is much more than any healing on earth. That's easy for us to say, and it's real churchy.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
to really allow that to penetrate your heart.
Yep.
And I had to repent, like literally,
Yeah.
I feel like you allowed heart failure to take my daddy.
Yeah.
But then out of that same tongue, I would say, I serve a God who can't fail.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that I had to even constantly walking through these processes.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
You know, that's Tasha that's on the tour, thousands and thousands of people, and I'm on a stage now going through this moment with thousands of people watching me.
Right, exactly.
Like, okay, God, I'm sorry.
Right.
You did not fail
Yeah,
me.
absolutely.
You know, I need to think of this the way that you do. So give me your mind towards this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your heart about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, grief is a process.
It is.
That 10 years later, I'm still learning from Daddy, but I'm also still learning about life.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And how God desires us to think about it.
Absolutely.
My dad used to say this all the time, and I'm going to get off of this. He used to say, we joke about it now, even his church back at home. He used to say, if I ever get a glimpse, I'll see y'all when you get there. He would say that all the time. And my mom, even when she spoke to my brother and I, they were married for almost 37, 38 years. They started dating when she was 13.
Wow.
Old school. Right? So it's the only thing she knew.
Yep.
And she was like, your daddy got a glimpse. He
Wow.
told us he wasn't coming back.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Lord said to me, I want you to think like that, Tasha.
Wow.
Like if I ever get a glimpse, I'm staying with him.
Yeah, I'm out.
You know, how often are we thinking about that?
Yeah, it's very true.
He literally got a glimpse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why are we expecting you to come back?
Yeah,
All of
no.
us, we laugh about it now. Daddy was like, he was serious.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So even in that, you know, I talk about that a lot in the book, just the lessons that I learned. But the main one was you got to dig deep and do it anyway.
That thing is like,
That's heavy. I know.
it's not, no, it's not that it's heavy. It's that it's so, again, it is the truth. It's not a truth.
The truth.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
One of my mentors told me years ago, I was in my early 30s, take a long time before you write a book. He said, because it takes a while before your truth becomes the truth. Once again,
Wow.
you would have to lived for a while,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
There are some people that still think the best boy band that ever lived was New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block.
Right? But
You haven't
time has moved forward. Somebody thought
This is
when
so
they heard
good.
doom 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 doom, somebody thought Vanilla Ice was gonna take over rap. It was the wrong white guy. It was Marshall Mathers. It was not Vanilla Ice. You see what I'm saying? Like, it takes
That
a long.
is so good.
This is the best song that it's ever been. Have you heard all songs yet? Like,
It takes a while.
this is the best band there'll ever be.
I love that.
I don't know if that's the best band. Just wait for a minute. Silk Sonic is the best band there ever. Have you heard Mint Condition? I don't know. Have we?
You gonna get this one started now. You talk about the band.
Right.
Ooh.
Are our memories that short? Like, it
Wow.
takes a long time before your truth becomes the truth. And the only way for that to go from this to that is time.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing people don't want to submit to.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to me now.
I want it now.
Fix it now.
Yeah.
Change it now. And it's like there is no there is no shortcut for that revelation.
No.
You didn't write this book a year after he died.
Yeah. Right.
It took 9 years to even realize, like, oh, snap.
To get God's mind about it, his heart about it. Yeah, I couldn't even, you're right, I couldn't have done that 2 years ago.
Peep game, to that point, right? I've been fascinated with this in my own journey with the Lord. How long he'll let you go without his mind.
Yikes.
Before he'll bring it to your mind to change your mind. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what you just said. I know it to be the truth. I am shocked at how far he lets us go.
I am totally processing this right now.
Girl,
I love where you're going, where this is taking me in my head.
let me give you Bible before I give you my story. Genesis 12. Abram, get thee out of thy country to a place that I shall show you. Abram leaves. It is 25 years later before God asks Abram to reciprocate the covenant that he established with him 25 years prior.
25 years.
It's 25 years later. Here go God. I'm going to need you to circumcise yourself.
Yeah.
Not 25 minutes later.
Not 25 minutes.
Not 25 days later. Not 25 weeks. He lets him go 25 years and he's like, you know what? I'm going to need you to bear a mark in your body that shows that we have a covenant. I need you to go ahead and take your foreskin and whack that off. 25 years later before you ask me to reciprocate
Man.
this covenant with you, he'll let you go a long time. He let Sarah tell Abram to go sleep with
He sure did.
Hagar. Sitting up there the whole time like that ain't even it. And don't tell him until the child
dies. Well, the child is born.
The child is born. Yeah. He waits till the child is born, and then Sarah gets mad because the baby's taunting Hagar and the child are taunting. And then he's like,
after what she asked for happened.
After what she asked for happened, Abram has to let her go. And God says, yeah, she right. Here's what he didn't say, because she shouldn't have done it in the first place. So now I got to make a promise with, I'm going to take care of Hagar.
I'm going to take care of her.
Because I'm kind, right? By the way, let's remember, Abram doesn't have Hagar as an option if he don't lie when he's in Egypt. When he lied, and called Sarai his sister, he was given a dowry to the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Of that land. And so God has to speak to him and say, don't touch that woman. That's his wife. And he goes back and says, bro, you almost got me. God almost killed me because of you. And he tells him to leave, but he doesn't take back his dowry, which included men servants, women servants, and cattle, and sheep and goats. So his plan B was because of his lie. And a lot of stuff we have in our house is because we wouldn't be truthful.
So I'm trying to think through this timeline about, because I keep talking about access and doors. I wonder if it's about maturity and being prepared to receive God's mind towards something.
Oh, absolutely. But this is what I'm saying. He's not as petty as we are.
Right.
Cause
He gives you time.
I get mad at my kids when I gotta tell them twice.
Pick your shoes up off the floor. I almost killed myself.
Didn't I
just now.
already tell you to clean this kitchen?
Yeah.
And here go God, like, I ain't gonna bother you about that, Tasha, for 9 years.
Wow.
You just keep on thinking that.
Whoa.
And then just out of nowhere, you ain't in devotion time. You ain't seeking the Lord's
I'm
face.
listening to this girl sing a song that actually has nothing to do.
You listening to a song, and then the Lord's like, so anyway.
You think I failed?
You think I failed? So that's Bible. Here goes Tim. I'm minding my business in a praise and worship service one day. Hands lifted high, head up, just the crying and just thinking about the goodness of the Lord. You couldn't tell me nothing was wrong. I'm in the presence of God right now. I'm worshiping. I'm in my happy place. And while I'm on staff at a church, while I am worshiping the Lord, got my hands up high, tears streaming down my face, the Holy Spirit said, you still mad at me? I said, who you talking to? What am I
Me?
mad?
Who, me?
We in worship right now on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I'm in the presence of the Lord. I'm not mad at you about nothing.
Why now?
Yeah, why now? Why now? He said, oh yeah, you're still mad at me.
Wow.
About what? He said, you're still offended with me for not becoming a homicide detective.
Whoa.
I said, no, I'm in ministry.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm on staff at a church. No, I'm not. And it was like he took me by the hand and walked me to the backyard of my soul and found this little spot in the grass. A little space. And just did one scoop, dug it up, and opened up this box. And when he opened it, there was a root of bitterness in there.
Wow.
He said, Tim, you've been blaming me for you never becoming a homicide detective and being in law enforcement. He said, but I never told you that's what you was going to do.
I never told you that.
That's what you wanted. I never said you was going to do that.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But you made what you wanted to do something that I was obligated to do for you.
Yes.
And it don't work like that.
But how often do we do this?
Girl, I was bawling my eyes like, oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
And literally, he says to me, while I'm crying, it's fine. After you've been converted, strengthen your brothers. And I had to preach that night. Oh, thank you, Holy Spirit.
Wow.
Let me tell you the other thing he told me in that. He said, for the last 10 years that you've been in ministry, you haven't been doing ministry with me. You've been doing ministry for me.
Yeah.
He said, you treat it like you punching the clock at work.
Yep.
And I'm tired of watching you preach for me because I didn't let your plans come to pass.
All of that was in there.
All of that was swimming in there. And he waits 10 years before. I'm in ministry 10 years with a grudge. And he ain't even checking me for it. I'm preaching messages. He just giving me sermons to preach. And
People
giving me,
passing out.
people getting blessed. And I can't hoop. And I'm rhyming at the end of the message and trying to close it. And he over there like, I'll hit
let
you.
you do you.
I hit you at year 10.
Wow.
I was ready
Yeah.
10 years later.
Yep.
You were ready 9 years later. And he's just that kind.
Yes, he is.
That's the loving kindness of the Lord that draws us to repentance. That's the long suffering
Yeah.
that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just like I know you got that little thing. It's hidden even from you. You don't even know.
You don't even know.
When I bring it to you, you're gonna be surprised.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I
Ooh.
show you, you're gonna be like, no, I don't. Yes, I guess I do. But he's so kind
He is.
to be so patient
Yeah.
to
Wow.
wait.
Yeah.
That gives a whole new reference to wait on the Lord.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm you done bless me right now.
Yeah, that's where that came from. They do it anyway. You keep it keeps taking me back to so many different stories. I'm so glad we started with the what's behind that, because that's where in life right now I want to share this.
Yeah.
I feel like we live in a world, especially with social media, where people see all the glitz and the glam.
Yeah.
but we hardly ever get a chance, especially as those who perform.
Yeah.
You know, like now we have the podcast and we're being welcomed on. And I think now we have an opportunity to share, okay, yeah, y'all enjoyed that song,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
went through a lot to
Yeah,
get that song, you know?
you did.
And so I appreciate the openness
Yep.
of people being able to say, okay, I want to hear more
Yeah.
about where that came from.
Yeah.
Because I think my testimony will allow other people to overcome where they are.
Yeah. So this is we were talking about this before we got started, and now it's clicked for me in a different way. I remember I'm old, and it seems like it was forever ago, and it really wasn't. I remember DVDs
Oh yeah,
and Blu-rays.
I remember DVDs.
Right. Well,
Yes.
I remember VHSs.
Oh, truly.
But like
Cassette tapes.
But I remember cassette tapes. Oh my goodness. Do you know it was like groundbreaking technology when you had the cassette tape that could fast forward to the next song.
Oh, yeah.
And not just all the
Groundbreaking.
way to the end where you had to
You
like
gotta take it out,
right.
and then it gets stuck. You gotta roll it up.
Exactly. You gotta roll it up, all that stuff,
I'm
right?
annoyed.
Right now, I'm annoyed, girl. I'm annoyed right now.
Right
It's not even
now.
a thing anymore, and I'm still pissed.
Why
right
did we
now.
have to do that?
Right? Why did we have
And
to
don't
do
let
that?
it pop.
No. Oh.
The little
It was
pieces of
surgery.
tape.
That was surgery.
Okay.
It took surgery. It took literally
Surgery.
the same surgical skill to play operation so the nose won't turn red. You needed
the
that
same
to get
thing.
the tape back in. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It
a
was a
miracle
lot.
working thing. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, these kids don't know nothing about
They
it.
don't know nothing about it, right?
Everything's handed over.
It's too much.
Perfected.
It's too much.
Yeah, our stuff was flawed.
It's too much.
The Nintendo. Let's let me go
the
there. The
tracking
Nintendo.
at the back, at the bottom of the VHS, and then you had to like tune it so the
Period.
fuzz would go away. Like,
Oh, I worked at a video store,
you know,
video warehouse. I was the
you
store manager.
know, you already
I had to
know.
deal with a lot of them.
Yeah, you know, you
People
already
returning
know.
them all
yeah,
jacked up.
yeah, and then rewind them and then put them back
I
in
know
the
all
right
about it.
case.
That's my life. You talking my life
They
now.
put True Lies and Predator, and they put
Wrong
Predator.
case.
I mean, you opening
Oh,
it
I'm
up
in there.
like
now
this
I'm working overtime trying to find this case. Oh, I know all about it.
So
It's so
we just had a moment.
Yeah.
That was a moment that age can only give you.
age will only
Only
give you
for
that.
people in their 40s
Yeah.
can appreciate what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now. All right, so
He said facts.
yeah, it's just so I was in this place where I'm thinking about Blu-rays and I'm thinking about DVDs, particularly the director's cut. That includes the director's commentary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that nerd.
Yes.
I'm the one that's like,
Yeah.
okay, this scene, now the director's saying you have no idea. We had to shoot this 60 times.
Yep.
Our actors were great, whatever, but we couldn't get the fan
Yep.
to blow at the right time.
Yes.
And it took this many takes. We wasted this much film.
Yeah.
We lost this much daylight. We had to do it over 5 days. It was only supposed to take 2.
Yeah.
That director's cut over the scene gives you an appreciation for the work
It does.
that went into it,
It
right?
does.
And
yeah.
so that's how I feel about what you're saying right now.
Right.
Like you having the ability to talk through songs.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is only for the people that can appreciate process.
Right.
There's a lot of people that are too immature right now, ain't in this place to
Yeah.
handle process.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
give me break every chain and let me go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love the thought of director's cut Tasha going, you heard break every chain. Now let me tell you what it took.
Ooh. Yes.
Let me tell you what it took
Yeah.
to break all those chains.
That's perfect.
Right?
That's perfect.
Like that's what I feel like you're doing talking.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like you're doing telling
Yes.
and writing, because you're leaving people with it now. I can't tell you how many people came up to me after I wrote Welcome to the Basement and
Yes.
went, man, I never knew the vision of the basement. I thought to myself,
I've been telling y'all.
episode 1 is up. Like, nigga, it's right there.
Right.
You could have went and listened to it anytime you wanted to.
Yes.
But it's amazing how many people can join you on your journey
Mm-hmm.
and not even know the story of where it started.
Yep.
And that's why I believe a book like this is so important.
Yeah.
The other reason why this book had me crying, your framework for it, is because I told my wife, when we brought my dad home on hospice,
Yeah.
I told Juliet 2 things. I said, I do not believe Daddy's going to be alive by the time my book comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1. Number 2, we had to pay for hospice out of pocket.
Yeah.
There was no medical insurance to cover it.
Right.
And so I moved some money around and put it in an account just for it to draw
Yeah.
to hospice care. I told my wife when I made the first withdrawal, by the time this money runs out, Daddy's life is going to run out.
Yeah.
I just knew it.
Okay.
Knew it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That man died 3 days before that book went out.
Wow.
That man died 5 days before the book tour started.
Do it anyway.
I had to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I talked to my wife. I talked to my kids. I talked to my mom.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm running
Right. Yeah.
if I go on this tour?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I'm avoiding the process of grief?
Yeah.
Do you think I'm building a false narrative of like, oh, I'm going to honor my dad by doing this?
Right.
They were like, I think Daddy would want you to do it.
To do it.
How do you feel? And I was like, I don't have a life where I have to compartmentalize my grief. I can go on the road with my grief.
Yes. Yes.
I have
Yep.
an audience that's so kind
Right.
that they can hold space for my grief. And if I get there and I feel like it's overwhelming, I ain't
Yeah.
gonna sign no books. I'll just hug everybody.
Yeah.
Not gonna
Yeah.
be a thing. We did it anyway.
Did it anyway.
So I
have to say something about this because one of the things that I've experienced, even just being with your family just today, there is, I think sometimes culture perpetuates this pride thing where, hey, this is my thought, this is what I'm gonna do, this is my idea, everybody jump on board. I love the communication where you have a trusted community of people within your home where you can trust their voice even if you don't know if you can trust yours.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's super important.
It is.
And I think it's important to let your pride down sometimes and say, hey, I really don't know.
Yep.
You know, I can't think this through right now, so I need your help.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I honor that about your family.
Thank
too.
you.
It happened earlier with your son.
Yep.
You know, he just was so open about, hey, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think a lot of times if we give our children even the grace to ask.
Yes. That's how we learn
It
and
had
grow.
nothing to do with what you just said, but I love that you had that much trust in their thoughts and their relationship with Christ and your father.
Absolutely.
To be able to give you wisdom and wise counsel.
I needed it.
Yeah.
I needed it because I, to your point, like, I didn't want to make that decision in a silo, and I didn't trust that the grief I was experiencing was going to allow me to make the wisest decision.
Right.
In a multitude of counselors, there's safety.
Yep.
And you don't have to go up a mountain with Jordans on
And
to go in Converses to see people with big white beards and bald heads to be like, oh, saged wise one.
Right.
No, your spouse can tell you.
They're right there.
Your children can tell you.
They can tell you.
Daddy, I don't feel good about that right now.
Yep.
And that needs to mean something. I'm about to sneeze.
Ooh, Lord. Bless you.
Thank you. So I think it's obviously you lost your daddy 10 years ago. It was.
Yeah.
Mr. Fritz.
Fritz.
Dr. Reverend Bishop
big guy.
Fritz Cobbs.
Yeah.
And my daddy, Charles Edward Ross, died 10 years later, February 24th of 2024, which was, I mean, if you're going to go out, he wanted to go out where 2/24/24. We got it, Daddy.
Yeah.
We get it. You like the symmetry and you got it. You won. But it just deeply resonates with me that you had to do it anyway after your daddy died.
Yeah.
And I had to do it anyway.
Right.
after my daddy died.
Yeah, and even the family, when you were just talking about that, I remember during that time, it was like the break every chain world. So I'm booked out for a year or two.
Yeah.
I'm traveling around the world, a different city, 6 days out of the week.
Wow.
And so my father was a pastor. So now we have a decision to make. Is mama going to take the church? Is my brother going to take the church?
Yeah.
You know, all of these things.
Yeah.
And I remember us having we made a unanimous decision. Hey, we're going to sit down, take a sabbatical. It's very similar to what you just said. And so I canceled a lot of events, but I kept one that was it was like San Francisco. So I had to travel far to it. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to this one. And I remember standing on the stage and I was singing all of these songs very familiar, but I was just totally, you say you see things in pictures. It was like my body was there singing, but I'm totally not there.
For sure.
I'm back at home with my mom. And I remember coming back for 1 second. And this song that we sang when I was a child, I'll say, yes, Lord, yes.
Oh, my God.
I started to sing that. When I got to the part that says, with my whole heart, instead, out of nowhere, I just said, with my broken heart, I'll still agree. And my answer will be, yes, Lord, yes. And I remember the Lord saying to me, you guys are going the wrong way. If you run away from me, because ministry, and when you're ministering, you're in my presence.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, I need you to be in my presence so I can give you my heart towards this season. Wow. I remember going back home and I told my mom, y'all got to get back in the pulpit. You got to teach the word of God. You got to keep studying the word of God. If we go this way, we're going too far away from him. She got back. She said, okay. And even in that, I trust the God in you. Her and my brother, they went back to teaching, went back to working in ministry. And it wasn't so much that we're running from grief.
Right.
I'm just running to God.
Absolutely correct.
I'm not running from grief. I'm running to God.
Absolutely.
And the main lesson that my dad had it tattooed on my arm, the main lesson he always taught us was stay at the feet of Jesus. Mm-hmm. So we're about to do everything he taught us not to do. Like, God was like, no, y'all going the wrong way. I need you to turn around.
Yeah, it's good.
Come back to me.
That's good.
Yeah. If we had not have done that, I think it would have been different. And another thing that caused a lot of pressure during that time for me is that I lived a life in front of so many eyes.
Yeah.
Like, people were watching.
Yeah.
I was doing an interview one day and that person was dealing with grief and they thanked me.
Wow.
They said, I want to thank you and your family for teaching kingdom families how to grieve.
Wow.
I never thought about it.
Wow.
I knew it was all over blogs and it was everywhere, but I wasn't thinking even now.
Yeah.
You're leading worship.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we want leading worship to be fuzzy feelings and bumps all over it. No. It's more so what I do with my life.
That's exactly right. That's that part.
And how I'm grieving right now is leading you in worship.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never thought about it till they said it in that interview. It literally made me pause. I had to take a Selah. Wow.
Yeah.
And it was years afterwards, but they said, hey, I would have not known how to deal with the passing of my loved one had I not seen how you and your family did it.
That I heard the same thing while we traveled on the book tour after Daddy's death. It was like, you're teaching me how to grieve in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And you
don't see it often either.
Yeah, it's well, I think that leads to, for me, a profound thought of doing it anyway. Cuz what it strongly implies is how you do it is important. Mm-hmm. Because they're watching.
They're watching.
I've seen a lot of people do it anyway and do it wrong.
And do it wrong. Maybe you should just hold off. Yeah, that's right.
Right?
How you do it.
How you do it is very, very important.
It matters.
It really matters.
Oh, wow.
And that's also a costly price. To do it right costs. Because it's easy to do it wrong. Can we just talk about, can we keep it a buck? It's so much easier to do everything wrong. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could handle rejection wrong. Yeah. We can handle money wrong.
Yeah.
We can handle marriage wrong. We can handle our kids wrong. It takes so much to do the right thing. But when you do the right thing and you do it the right way and you get repetition with it, that's when it becomes easier.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying it's always easy to do the right thing, but if you always do the right thing the right way, then it just becomes easier. Yeah. I'll never forget. So I trained with a ex-military. he's a veteran.
Okay.
And but
That sounds intense.
it is. And those 4 hours are I just don't even take my phone out the car.
Yeah.
Because if you try to look at the time, you'll get depressed.
Got it.
Because like 10 minutes in, you're like, why?
You're actually in boot camp.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
For 4 hours? Why did I even say I would do this, right? So I'm warming up one day. At least I think I am. I'm warming up, and I'm drawing that holster out of my. I'm drawing that gun out of my holster so fast, and I'm presenting it, and I'm putting it back. I'm doing it fast, and he pulled his truck up, and I'm just thinking because he pulls up behind us, right? We're in the bay, and I'm just. And he's walking around. He gets up to me. He's like, "Can you tell me what you're doing?"
Can you tell me what you're doing?
What are you doing? I was like, I'm just warming up and going through my drills. He was like, has there ever been one time out on my course where we've gone through a drill this fast? And he did not wait for my answer because he knew my answer was going to be no. Right? He was like, get your head out of your butt, right? Get your head out of your butt. Don't let me ever see you.
Wow.
On my course again, doing something that I have not trained you to do.
Ooh.
Do you understand me? Yes, sir, I do.
Got it.
Yeah, I got it. You'll probably have to correct me on something again. It won't be this. I bet you it won't. I bet you all the money in my bank account. You'll never have to talk to me about this again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, doing it right that takes time.
Yeah.
That takes time. That takes time.
Wow. He's such a God of, we talk about how gracious he is and how patient he is. I'm just going to go there with the movie thing. I was thinking, because I talk about it in the book. So I worked at this movie store.
Okay.
Video warehouse. I started off at the movie gallery. I don't know if y'all had
Oh,
that.
I remember movie gallery.
Yeah.
I remember.
I started in high school.
Yeah.
You know, this was a career thing.
Yeah.
So I was working at movie gallery, and I had gone off to school, and I came back home to help my parents in ministry. And by this time, you know, I spoke to you earlier about the prophecies. People have been telling me my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, I see your name in lights.
Yeah.
You're going to be on stages. But I'm the store manager at a movie gallery, at the video warehouse.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe that this will encourage a lot of people. Where you are right now, it's not always going to look like what he said.
I promise you.
But sometimes people think, hey, Tasha, overnight, they used to say that this girl came overnight. No.
Overnight's like 20-some years.
20-something years.
That's overnight.
And there was this song, every night when I would close the store, I would sit in the car and I would just kind of settle and then try to digest all of the word that had been spoken over me and convince myself that, hey, this is not what you're called to.
Interesting.
But this is a part of your process. Literally, even back then, I would tell myself. So there was this song that William Murphy had, and it said, I was created just to give you all the glory. I was created just to worship and adore thee. You are the Son of the living God, the Savior of the world. And I was created just to give you all the glory. And I would sit in the car and worship to that song and remind him, you know, so I'm reminding you what you said to me, that I was created to worship. I was created to give you glory. But now I think back, though I knew that, I needed various seasons before I was ready. Like, you can know it all day long. And sometimes we can try to speed up the process and create our own doors. It never works. Let me just go ahead and tell y'all. It don't work. Creating your own doors.
Never.
It is so dangerous.
Yeah.
It is a mess. You're setting yourself up for something you're not prepared for. And I remember sitting in that car, and now that I think about it, it was keeping me settled, not complacent, not comfortable, but settled.
Yeah, for sure.
That I know God's going to do what he says.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's a reason why I'm here.
Yes, absolutely.
I told our church one day, had I not experienced those seasons of managing that store, I wouldn't be able to help my husband pastor a church. I needed that experience of management on how to deal with people who have this type of temperament or that type of mood swing, or, you got to think back over those years. Now I can think back and say, man, had I not experienced that, had I not experienced having to leave school, the embarrassment of having to come home, but it taught me how to build a worship team from the ground up. Our church was a holiness church, so we still doing devotion. I came home from school and thinking, I think I want to start a worship team. Had no clue what it was. But I knew I had this unction, this feeling that there's more than just this devotion right now at our church. God wants something else. And if I had to sacrifice my dream of becoming a elementary school teacher to lead worship at Daddy's church,
wow,
then that's what I'm about to do.
So Tasha Cobbs Leonard,
Listen.
are you telling me that you learned? No, I want to say it a different way. Are you telling me that God prepared you for ministry at a secular job?
At a secular job.
Ain't that about a
Learning administration and organization.
Ain't that about a
People skills.
Ain't that about a I mean, because everybody's in line to get on at a church so they can learn how to do ministry.
Oh,
Tasha
yeah.
Leonard
No.
Cobbs. Tasha Cobbs Leonard. I'm too excited. I reversed the order.
Learned it at a secular job. Dishing out videos.
Okay.
VHS.
Tag me in.
Tag.
Let me match you. I worked for CarMax, the auto superstore, when I first moved to Dallas, Texas. I was a salesperson. Sold cars for like the first 3 or 4 months, but I only sold 3 cars. And so
Good
they were like, you need to find something else to do.
Way to go.
You're they were like, you're trash.
At
fam.
CarMax, you only selling 3 cars.
I only sold 3 cars. There was an African guy there who sold like 2 cars a day.
Wow.
And I hated him. So I know I'm not supposed to hate anybody.
But you hated him.
I was dejected.
Yeah.
That dude was dusting. I sold 3 cars in like 92 days. He sold 3 cars in a day and a half.
That is incredible.
Okay.
3 cars is
and I didn't
incredible.
have that African aggression to even be like,
Yeah,
so
I'm
you
not
will buy
chasing
the
you.
car now. No, I still wanted to. No, now.
Yeah, you
I
can
didn't
buy
have
now.
it, right? I didn't have it. Anyway, so they put me on night shift,
Okay.
10 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. I was in charge of quality assurance for every vehicle that would be on the front lot
Okay.
to be sold. They had to pass my inspection. Okay. So what I learned to do and was trained to do was check the vehicle for frame damage. If it had any frame damage at all, I had to go to wholesale. It would not be on the front lot. But since this is a used car lot, we had to check for minor scratches and dents and determine, does it fit the parameters for it to still go to the front lot? Which means every car that's going to go to that front lot will be flawed.
Yeah. Oh.
It just can't have major
Yeah.
cosmetic flaws. So on the exterior, we were looking for discoloration, scratches, dents. On the interior, we're looking for upholstery damage, stains, tears, that type of stuff. The process was so detailed. And if you kicked a car back for touch-ups or anything, you're affecting the sales.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
the bottom line is what's happening on the front lot.
Yeah.
Any car that stays on the back lot, we don't have an opportunity to make money
Yep.
until we put that sticker in there and put it on that front lot.
Got it.
So you better be sure that this is actually worth going back through the body shop, the interior being fixed, paint being put back over. Because if you kick a car back for something that's cosmetically minor, you're affecting sales. And also, you're now backing up all these other cars that actually need real restoration because you just mad at this scratch. You taking it personal now.
Ooh.
Guess where the Lord told me how to pastor a church?
CarMax.
CarMax, the auto superstore.
I have to say the tagline. Sorry.
That's where the Lord taught me.
Jeez.
He told me while I was still working at CarMax, what I'm training you for is how to treat people. Because they're all flawed. You ain't gonna find no new people out here. They all got some flaws. They all got some dents. They all got some scratches. They all got some stains. Be careful who you kick back.
And you got to know the ones that are ready to be on the front line. Yikes.
So when I was a lead pastor, everybody that served in ministry, I know exactly what was going on with all of them.
Yeah.
It didn't disqualify them from ministry.
Right.
And there were a couple, they did get qualified. I had to kick them to the back lot.
Yeah. You get to be on the back lot. We got to put you back.
We got to put you back. Yeah, you got some body work, but actually you got frame damage.
Frame damage.
You're going to have to go wholesale because I'm not going to be able to do nothing with you. You don't want to submit to no type of process to get that fixed.
Whoa.
Because to fix a frame, you got to strip that car down.
Oh.
To get to the frame.
This is great.
Because the whole body sits on the frame.
This is great.
If you've ever seen a car going down the street like this, but it's still going in the same direction.
Yes.
But two of the wheels is more over here and two of the wheels. It's frame damage.
Frame damage.
It's frame damage.
That's good.
The frame is built. That means everything that sits on top of the frame looks a little off. You meet some people that you like. You seem a little off. Something off about that person right there, right?
You going like this.
you going down the road like this. So I just think so now this title is like screaming at me in a bunch of different directions. Do that anyway.
Ooh.
You got to be able to hear God give you a prophetic word and do movie gallery anyway.
Be faithful where you are.
David, head full of oil. Go right back to them sheep.
Yeah.
Do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm the king. I thought Samuel said, I'm the king of Israel. You will be one day.
One day.
Right now, shepherd these sheep.
Yep. I had to walk through so many years with all these prophecies. I so many, and a lot of this is in the book. When I was 10 years old, I had a uncle who was like this incredible intercessor. I mean, he stayed up all night, 4 a.m.
Yep.
And so my dad had this room, we called it the upper room, that was right above my room all night long. I'm 10, I got to go to school tomorrow. He's thumping. I'm like, oh, can somebody just hush? And I remember he came downstairs and he called my parents and he said, I need Tasha to hear this. I love this. And I often tell parents who have very gifted children about this. I need Tasha to hear this. And she may not understand fully what I'm about to say, but I need it in her hearing.
Yes, good.
So she'll know how to manage it throughout her life. And he told my parents, he said, the Lord said to me last night that the anointing is attractive. And there will be things that try to attach themselves to Tasha throughout her entire life. But he's going to give you the grace to cultivate her gift and to not overshadow her. And when I tell you they were the best, I had a childhood, I hung out with my friends, but there were some things, because I heard the word, there were some things I just chose not to do. Not because mama said don't do it or daddy said. Now, I was a regular kid.
Yeah, for sure.
But there were some things.
Yep.
I can't do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not even saying it's a sin. It's just like, hey, I can't touch that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I heard the word.
Yeah.
But I could take the, just like you just said, David. I was 10 years old, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be on a platform singing in front of thousands of people.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I had to live with it.
You have to live with it.
You got to carry it.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Like, there are no wasted seasons.
No. None.
There are no way. God is going to use every single season You just got to let him.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to settle in those seasons.
Yeah.
Even when I would feel myself getting anxious,
Yep.
that's when I would go back and remind myself, but God said, you just got to sit here in this. There's a reason. There's a reason why I'm here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I love that. That is my I feel like we're in like a parallel universe kind of with the stories that you share, cuz I'm like I feel like I can volley almost like, "Oh, your experiences was that, but this experience it was like this for me, and that still got me to where."
Yes.
I'll never forget my mom. Well, 2 prophecies my mama gave me. Well, one was a prophetic word when I was 16, and the second one was the first thing she had me read when I gave my life to Jesus.
Okay.
When I was 16, at a church service, we in the back, we laughing at the people that speak in tongues,
the kids,
and we trying to write raps and make stuff to make each other laugh, right, to pacify the time. And my mom said, Timothy and Miles, stand up. She was going forth, prophesying, praying for people. She goes, Timothy and Miles, stand up. The Holy Spirit told me to tell you that you will never make it in the secular industry. You're never going to make it in the secular music industry. I'm 16.
Just destroy my world.
I said, don't nobody believe you. I didn't say it to my mama.
I'm currently writing raps as we speak.
In my mind, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. What are you talking about? We went to there was a group of 4 of us in this group. We started to get some attention from a label. This label had ties to some big industry people in LA. And we came in, the 4 of us came in to audition for this producer. He said, hey, I'm gonna call y'all back. He calls us back and says, yeah, man, y'all the perfect package, but I don't want to sign y'all as a group. I don't want to do all 4 of y'all. I don't even know which one I would want. So like, I'm just gonna pass for now.
Take nobody.
2 of the 4 were like, dang, man, yo, what's the big deal? Like, me and Miles in the corner like this.
Uh-oh.
We know why. We over there in the corner like,
we just messed y'all up.
nigga, fix your face. We just cost all 4 of us a deal.
Wow.
Because my mama said,
yep,
we was never going to make it.
Yep.
Do you know from that day to this day, that label got absorbed by Death Row and Interscorp? We would have wound up on. I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now.
No.
So that
Man,
word
that's crazy.
saved my life.
Yeah.
Probably quite literally saved it.
Yes.
Right? This is the second thing, and this blew my mind. Obviously, years later, it made perfect sense. But the first thing my mama had me read when I gave my life to Jesus, this is no cap. 1 Kings 13. I gave my life to Jesus. She said, baby, read 1 Kings 13. 1 Kings 13? Like, out of the whole Bible.
Mama's
not
like,
Proverbs, not
Kings.
Psalms. And not even the whole book. 1
Kings
Kings 13. Short of it is there's a prophet that comes in and gives a judgment to the king, and then he leaves the city. An old prophet, the God tells the young prophet, don't go back through the city the way you came. So he's on the outskirts of the city. The old prophet is like, come to my house. The young prophet's like, no, God said I can't. The old prophet's like, well, I'm a prophet too, and an angel told me that you should come to my house. And so he's like, okay. And while they're sitting down having dinner, the old prophet gets a real prophetic word from the Lord. He was lying.
To get him there.
He was lying to get him there.
Yeah.
But once he got there, the Lord really spoke to the old prophet. And he was like, tell the young prophet he gonna die. Because he disobeyed my order. And the old prophet is shook. And he goes, the Lord told me to tell you that when you leave, a lion gonna kill you. And the dude's like, what? That dude walked out the house, got murked by a lion. And I just gave my life to Jesus. I'm like,
What are we
48
talking
hours
about?
old. I'm like, what is happening? What am I supposed to do with this information?
Right.
Do you know, I can say this to you 28 years later without having to hone in on the actual specifics.
Yeah.
God was trying to show, God wanted me to know when I first gave my life to him, whatever I tell you to do, I don't care if somebody older than you, wiser than you, who's saying they've been prophesying longer than you, tell you what I told you, you better listen to me.
I'm about to scream.
Because here's what the old man said that exposed the whole thing that the young man should have picked up on. He never said God said. He said an angel told me.
An angel told me. Ooh.
Last time I checked, angels don't rank above God.
No. No.
So if God says something, Gabriel come behind him. Talking about on behalf of God. No, nigga, I already heard from God.
Yeah, yeah.
I already heard from God. There's nothing else I can do. So that is like those two things has anchored me. And that's why I have so much conviction about everything God tells me to do now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
Yeah.
who'd you get your order from?
Yeah, because I got this from God.
I'm so sorry.
No, actually, nobody trumps me.
You didn't hear what I heard. That should have been the response of the young prophet. I'm so sorry. You didn't hear what I heard.
Right.
But I'm an old prophet and I have wisdom. And, yeah. I didn't hear that. You heard that. I didn't hear that. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to stay out here. But enjoy y'all dinner though.
Enjoy your dinner. I hope
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all can go do that anyway. Go cook anyway.
Cook anyway.
That could be.
I'm gonna do it anyway. What he said.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Woo.
What he said goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What he
Yes.
said goes. Tasha, this book comes out. This book is gonna be out by the time this is out.
Mm-hmm.
May 7th is when this book drops.
Yeah.
I need every single dweller to get this book. Like, I want this book to surprise the publisher.
Wow.
Like, I want them to be like, we knew it was going to do good because it was Tasha, but then, oh my God.
You're right.
Wow,
Yes,
these numbers are exhilarating. We didn't even expect this to move this many units in the first quarter. Let it be said that the dwellers did that. Huh? Let it be said that they got that good old dweller bump.
Dweller bump. I like that.
On the back side of that. So I need everybody that has pressed B to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because the encouragement you're going to get from this book, the exhortations you will get from this book, the impartations you will get from this book, and the stories. That's what I love about Tasha and Kenny, is that they're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody trying to be like, the Lord did it for me, he'll do it for you. Did what? He did a lot of stuff. Ain't nobody.
Tell me the story.
Yeah, ain't nobody talking in generalities over here. Ain't nobody using vague colloquialisms like, listen, God did it for me before, he's going to do it again. What did he do, though?
Yeah.
He's done so much for me, I cannot tell it all.
Many.
That's not a testimony.
I want
That's
you
a
to
song
tell it
lyric.
all.
I want you to tell it all. Let
Yeah.
the redeemed of the Lord actually say so.
Say so.
Like, say it, though. And this book,
That's great.
this book has that for you. And it obviously your heart was already stirred by what she shared here, but there's something with sitting down with a book and reading it and allowing it to start reading you and guiding you. And like, there's always that one paragraph. This is such a big deal for me every time I read a book that I know I'm assigned to read, that I know is going to minister to me. There is always a sentence or a paragraph that you get stuck on. For me, I got to tat it. I got to either highlight it or underline it. And then I just got to sit with that thing because I'm like, oh, gosh, you got me right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Page 62. Okay, Lord, you got me right there. I wasn't even expecting it, but that got me. That's going to be this book for you.
Yeah.
So get it. Get it. Let's support our sister. Let's support the work that God has given her to do. If you've supported her music, support her book. You should know those that labor among you. And you know her voice, and you know her lyrics, and they know your face now too. But now you need to sit with her words.
Wow.
If you allowed her lyrics to minister to you, allow her words to minister to you as well. That's how you move from this to that. That's how that should be.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Like, for y'all to fly in just to leave this impartation with us, it's a big deal for me.
Wow.
It really is a big deal for me. And I love y'all.
We
both.
love you.
Yeah, I love y'all so much.
We
like,
love
for
you.
real,
We told
for real.
you, when we say we coming, we come.
No, y'all have not lied. Y'all have not lied. Y'all have not lied. And the feeling is absolutely mutual.
Absolutely.
I will jump on a plane in a
Yes.
minute. Come down there for anything or nothing at all. I don't even need a reason. That's how I feel about y'all.
Yeah, we love you.
I love you. I love you.
Thank
and
you for this.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. How do you feel? You wrote it, but how do you feel about it? Because after
I feel great.
you feel great.
Yes,
Good.
I feel that was general. So let me.
I feel great. Next question.
I feel like this is the next step, the next place, the next space that God can trust me with.
Good.
I feel like the people are ready. And I was telling you earlier, too, about the audience of people who trust the worship.
Yep.
I feel that same audience will now trust the word.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Child, please.
And I feel like it's something that I owe to them. Like I can't let you just stick with just a song. I want you to get the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually very refreshing to hear. I'm not sure many artists want to be known outside of their craft.
Wow.
I'm not. I purposely said artists.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying Christian artists. I just think most artists are like, I want to give you music.
Yeah.
I want you to vibe to my music. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You ain't got. I ain't trying to have a conversation with you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
and I think I'll say this. I think as gospel artists, we don't get that privilege. Like our genre is the only genre that represents someone else. And so in any way that I can, I want to get him to you.
yeah, good.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like
I don't
that.
have that privilege. To say, I just want you to get my music. However he leads me to get him to you, that's what I'm going to do.
Tasha, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You're the first person I've heard say that.
Wow. So, I mean, if it's a shoe store, if it's eyewear, if it's a book, I just want to get him to you.
And y'all got 4 shoe stores now, don't you?
You keep taking the number up.
I'm sorry.
You said 2 the first time.
Did I?
The first one isn't even a year old yet.
My bad. How did I get to 4?
I don't know. You keep seeing it. He's definitely prophetic.
It's in the future.
Yeah, it is.
It's got to be. Because
It
I,
is.
well, maybe, okay. So accurately,
We
y'all
have
got one shoe.
The Athlete's Foot in Greenville. Y'all gotta come get your shoes. We got all the drops.
Okay.
And according to Tim Ross, we have 4 that are being. We're like a kangaroo.
Listen.
Is that what Anita said?
That's what
I
she
got
said.
one in the pouch.
Yeah. One popping out and another one
It's
coming
one that's
in.
jumping around right
Yeah.
now. It's
Okay,
only one jumping
One is
around.
out of the pouch. But okay, so maybe then what I'm sensing is, and I'm saying I'm sensing, I'm not
Yeah.
even saying the Lord.
An angel. I had to say it. It was perfect. It was perfect. No, we trust you.
Yeah.
Whatever
Like-
you're feeling, you say it
Okay.
every time.
Yeah. So my sense is that y'all are franchisers. Like
Yes, it's
y'all
a franchise store.
Yeah,
yes.
but y'all are you are stewards of.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
You are stewards of stores. The first store is, can we trust you?
Okay.
Right? And then it's
Yes.
gonna be, hey, we got another store and
Yeah.
we just need y'all to put y'all's. They're not gonna even know what to call it.
Wow.
Like they're not gonna know. They're gonna think they know based on like units sold and like all the stuff that they look at, but they don't understand it's God's favor.
Yes.
Right? They won't know that it's that zhuzh. It's the same thing with our pod. We had people like, yo, how do we tell us how you're doing what you're, and we were like,
they want the formula.
Yeah, they want the formula. I'm like, God's in our algorithm, and they got pissed.
Ooh.
And I was like, I don't have another answer though, because that's the truth.
Yeah.
God got in our algorithm. There's no way I should be showing up on your Explorer page, except God got in our algorithm. That's not us being savvy YouTubers or savvy internet social. I don't even know the right verbiage. Gurus. We ain't even. No, it's literally God got in the algorithm. Point blank. Period.
That's how it is. Yeah, that's accurate.
I truly believe that's on you.
Yeah.
And Kenny, because the apostolic is not confined to churches. The apostolic is about taking territory.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we could take it with churches or we could take it with shoe stores. It don't matter.
It don't matter.
It just don't matter.
This is why we out here. I'm gonna do it anyway.
We gonna do it. That's it, right? We gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
So whether it's shoes or whether it's books or whether it's music or whether it's the church, we just gonna do it anyway. Whether it's preaching, whether it's podcasting, whether it's tech company, we're just doing it anyway. And if we can give permission to people to do what God has called them to do,
imagine.
Oh my! If they get the concept, child, Lord have mercy on my whole soul.
That's a whole different conversation. Kenny said something the other day. He had been reading and he said the richest place on earth is the grave.
That's facts. That's facts.
Monroe.
That's Miles Monroe.
Like literally,
Absolutely.
when you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
Imagine how many billion-dollar ideas died.
Because they just wouldn't do it.
We gotta.
And I'm the type of person, okay, so the reason why I could settle into ministry for the season that God had me do it is because I pursued everything I felt like God called me to do to the end.
Ooh.
People don't know this. I was on Showtime at the Apollo.
All right.
I was the first rapper not to get booed off. I walked out there and did a freestyle.
That's awesome.
But here's the thing.
Because they booed.
They do boo you.
They actually enjoyed booing.
Yes. I sat, it was a cold day in January. They had open auditions in Texas. In Fort Worth, I stood in line for 7 hours to do comedy.
Come on.
To do stand-up. I was going to do a 3-minute set. That's all they would give you. It's like a 3-minute set. It was so cold, I got so pissed. I had a CD, a burned CD, with Pharrell's grinding beat on it that he gave to the clips. Grinding. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Right? They were like, what are you going to do? By the time I got in to do the audition, they said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm a rap. And I just wanted to air them out freestyle, like for like making a stand set.
In the cold for 7 hours.
7 hours, right? And so I literally talked about my 7-hour experience and the fact that y'all been in here eating food and being warm and da-da-da-da-da. I was trying to flame them and clown them at the same. They were like, you're in the finals. I lost to a nigga that played the trumpet. That's the only thing I hate about the Apollo.
Because Mama said, y'all ain't gonna make it in that industry.
She told me.
No, Mama said, Apollo.
I would always get to the last thing, and the Lord just kept closing the door. But I was satisfied knowing I did everything I could.
Yes.
He wasn't punishing me for the pursuit, but it needed to settle in my heart.
Yeah.
And once it did, I was like, oh, yeah. And then I find out Lecrae's my cousin, and guess what? He won a Grammy. That nigga rapping. He's the one supposed to be rapping. God could trust him. I guess.
He
the
best at it.
Hey, the LA nigga, if I would have got it, I don't think I would have. I wouldn't have been saved correctly. I needed to be a Bible guy and learn theology because
he did it for the both of you.
He did it for the both of us.
And we celebrate that.
And I'm so happy.
We celebrate him.
When I tell you I'm not mad, I ain't jealous. I'm so glad my cousin got it.
Me and Lecrae just won a Grammy.
That's right. We won the Grammy. It's in the family.
We all won
a Grammy. Didn't we do it? So,
sure
okay.
Did.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it anyway.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for doing it anyway before you wrote it.
Ugh. Wow. Yeah.
Because a lot of people writing books ain't done nothing.
Ooh.
But writing it like, well, I know to work. I know to sell. I know to move some units. But it's like, but did you do it though? Oh, no, I don't live none of that. But it works. It motivates.
Yeah.
So
true.
thank you.
Thank you.
I love you. I'm proud of
I
you.
love you too. Thank you.
Get this book, y'all. Let's go.
Hey.
Let's make it a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
Or a Jessup bestseller.
Listen.
Somebody's bestseller. Okay, until next time, I love y'all. Deuces.
Yeah, so press B with me and let's let whatever gon' be just be. Yeah, so press B with me and let's let whatever gon' be just be.